So the other day, I got this email of a preacher with a familiar face. And I was thinking, where did I know this guy? Oh yeah, it's Pastor E. Dewey Smith of the Greatest Travelers Rest Baptist Church in Atlanta. Now, let me just talk about this because Greater Travelers Rest is a very popular church in the area. Even Martin Luther King Sr. at one point was the pastor of this great church. And Pastor E. Dewey Smith, at the time that I started watching him, he was a young minister. He went to school with Jamal Harrison Bryant over at Morehouse. And I mean, he's probably one of the better pastors in the Southern Hemisphere of the United States, in particular, the Atlanta area. And I like him. He's a pretty good singer. He's a damn good preacher, really good organizer in the church. But he also is known for talking on social issues that many preachers will not touch. And in this particular clip, I saw him talking about the discrimination of gays in the church. Now, before I kind of get into that, I was kind of expecting that, okay, here we go with some pandering. Here we go with some BS and stuff. This is just another way to get more gays in the church. But he made a really strong point that I want to talk about. So SPK, play that clip.
Here's the problem. You guys in the church can be so hypocritical. He said, in the African-American church, you really got to be careful. I said, what do you mean? He said, because you are guilty of condemning the Supreme Court system and preaching against something. But if you look at half of our choirs, and a great number of our artists that we call abominations and we call demons, we demonize and dehumanize the same people that we use, and we don't say nothing about the gay choir director because he's good for business. As long as the choir sound good, I ain't saying nothing about his sexuality. We have done what the slave master did to us: dehumanize us, degrade us, demonize us, but then use them for our advantage.
So guys, we got to talk about this because what he's saying makes a lot of sense. We all know growing up in the black community, it tends to be quite conservative. And many of us, we do have gays that are in our family, some of our cousins, some of our uncles, hell, some even our parents, because we have some parents who are bisexual. And if we really want to be real, the black church, both pastors and musicians, have been shaped by some of the most talented people who were gay or bisexual. I mean, there's the Gospel Music Workshops of America, who was started by Reverend James Cleveland. We know that Reverend James Cleveland was no doubt a gay man, even though he had a child, but we know that James Cleveland most likely was gay. My grandmother even met James Cleveland, said even the way he played his piano was not like a straight man. That's just what she said. There was another guy that came from New Orleans who came to the Northern California Bay Area by the name of King Narcissus. You guys may have heard of him before. Another guy who shaped gospel music, preaching, healing people, gifts, gay. What about the Reverend Charles Nix, who was the organist for the GMWA and Reverend James Cleveland over at St. James Missionary Baptist Church in Detroit? Undoubtedly one of the most talented organists of all time. I mean, stories have been told about the National Baptist Conventions back in the day. He would come and whoever's on the organ, they would just move over because he was that good. Don't believe me? Type in Reverend Charles Nix here on YouTube and just listen to some of his choirs. I mean, even St. James was so good that he was the organist for Aretha Franklin. They sung in front of the Pope and people like that. What did he die of? AIDS. AIDS related to, most likely, homosexuality. There is Richard Smallwood in DC. There's Andre Crouch in San Francisco. Don't know if he was gay or not. It's believed that he was. There was Clara Ward, who dated C.L. Franklin, and she was allegedly bisexual. But see, here's something about all of these guys. Nobody called these people out during the time of their ministries. Want to know why? Hey, listen, as long as you make my choir sound good, we have a don't ask, don't tell policy. And we got to talk about that because that has been the hypocrisy in the black church since I've been coming along. Now it's a little bit more open, but you know, we all knew that we had a gay organist or a gay choir director. We had a really big scandal at our church that the guy that was choir director at our church ended up messing with one of the boys in the church, and he went to prison for like 10 years. But people knew that he was funny, if you want to call it like that. They called it funny. Like he liked guys. And we knew that. Everybody knew it. But because he could sing, because he was a great organizer of music, people let it slide. Why? Because music ministries are the heart and soul of the black church. 60 to 70% of the service is carried out in songs. And if your organist, your B2 Hammond player is talented, if your your music choir director is the bomb and those donations are coming in, we don't care. Now, we'll preach against it for somebody else who don't have anything to offer on Sunday morning. Like, the girl who comes in with her girlfriend. Oh no, we're not having that there. This is the house of God. You need to leave. But as soon as that person can play the organ, soon as that person can sing a solo, soon as that person has some kind of talent that benefits to the bottom line, we do have a don't ask, don't tell policy. Now, I'll also talk about that because there are some preachers of the gospel who will shut that shit down no matter what. Listen, you're living a lifestyle that is unlike what we teach here. I don't care how talented you are or how untalented you are. You're not going to do it here. You have to go somewhere else. If we have to just be without a musician, we will do that. But 99% of pastors won't do it. And that's something that we got to really talk about. We can't say it's okay for our person to be the pastor who's a preacher and he's gay or bisexual, or the person who plays the organ and they're gay, and the person who directs the choir and that person's gay, and they contribute to the bottom line of the church and they're getting the donations in, they're packing it out every Sunday. And then we have a problem with, Sister Jackson's daughter over there who's at the gay club all the time, and we don't want her to come to the church. I think that's a problem too. And another thing also is that the black church has a lot of women in it. Now, what do I mean when I say that? Well, women tend to be a lot more tolerant of homosexuality, especially with boys. Men, not so much. Women, a lot. And a lot of ladies know that these boys, from the young age, they're gay. And a lot of them, they kind of like teach them how to play music and kind of give them kind of a safe space and stuff like that. They know, and they love them just the same. And I'm not saying that you're not supposed to hate anybody, but that's kind of how it goes. And we tend to dislike gays in the church who can't do anything for us, but the church tends to protect the gays that are bringing in the money and organizing the choirs and directing. And it's true. It's been going on for years, and pastors will not fire gay musicians or gay choir directors unless they have a big scandal. We really do in the black church have a don't ask, don't tell policy. And E. Dewey Smith, unfortunately, is 100% right. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell, check out the first comment at the top. And as you know, the buffoonery remains an all-time high. I'm out.